In the previous video, we have seen male and female reproductive system in human. In this video, we will see what is puberty and what are the changes in the human body during the period of puberty.
We all grow with our age. As human grows, height increases, weight increases, and they lose their milk teeth and acquire new sets of teeth. Along with these changes, we can notice some other changes both in male and female. A baby, boy or a girl, their body appearances are almost similar. As age advances, their appearances also change. In males, like facial hair growth in the form of beard and mustache, widening of the shoulders, and deepening of the voice and development of sex organs. But in the case of females, we can see few changes like widening of hips and pelvis, pitch of the voice become high, initiation of menstrual cycle, and growth of mammary glands. These changes happens over a period of years. These changes are the indication of sexual maturity in human. These changes are caused by hormones produced by reproductive organs. In the female body, we can see female hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Here, estrogen plays a major role for breast growth and hair growth in the region of pubic areas and widening of the hips. In the case of male, the hormone testosterone plays a major role in body hair growth, voice break, muscle growth, etc. Sexual maturity means the reproductive organs are capable of producing sex cells. All these changes in boys and girls initiate at certain age. But the age is not same for all boys and girls. The period in which the boy and girl are sexually matured is called as their puberty. Usually, boys attain puberty at the age of 13 or 14 years, while girls attain puberty at the age of 10 to 12 years. So, puberty is the initiation of sexual maturity. The reproductive cycle in women begins with the release of ovum from the ovary. Thousands of follicles are enclosed inside the ovary. Follicles are spherical structures with an immature egg at its center. Ovulation is the process that happens usually once in every month when the hormone changes trigger an ovary to release an ovum. Now let us see the process of ovulation with the help of an animated video. Ovulation is the part of menstrual cycle when the ovary releases a ripe ovum. There are thousands of follicles in the ovary. Each follicle is a hollow ball of cells with an immature egg in the center. The typical 28-day menstrual cycle begins on the first day of the menstrual bleeding. During this phase, that is the follicle phase, a few follicles begin to grow at the same time. But one dominant follicle continues to grow and nourishes the developing egg inside it. These maturing follicles secrete estrogen hormones into the bloodstream. That is, around day 5, the estrogen level in the blood is very high. When the estrogen reaches the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland in the brain releases a huge surge of luteinizing hormone into the bloodstream. Around day 14, luteinizing hormone causes the follicle to undergo a sudden growth. And as a result, the egg detaches from the follicle. The bulging follicle releases chemicals causing one of the two fallopian tubes to move closer to the follicle. The follicle swells until it bursts open, ejecting the egg into the abdominal cavity. At that time, the finger-like projections at the entrance of the fallopian tube picks up the egg and transport to the fallopian tube. Muscular contractions of the wall of the fallopian tube gently push the egg towards the uterus. After ovulation, the egg lives for 12 to 24 hours in the fallopian tube. If sperms are present inside the fallopian tube at the time of ovulation, fertilization takes place. In the 3D video, we have seen that how ovulation takes place. Ovulation is nothing but the release of ovum into the fallopian tube. Now, let us see what is menstruation. You know, ovulation happens once in a month. Ovulation only starts after a girl attaining puberty. Now, if the released egg fuses with the sperm, it could lead to the formation of zygote. In that case, uterus should be ready to nurture that embryo. For that reason, during the process of ovulation, the inner lining of the uterus becomes thick and soft with a lot of blood capillaries. In this picture, you can see very thick inner lining of the uterus. This uterus is already ready for receiving the fertilized ovum. If fertilization does not take place, what happens? Then the thick, soft inner lining of the uterus is not required anymore. So the lining of the uterus breaks down and comes out through the vagina in the form of blood and mucus. That process is called menstruation. So what is menstruation? It is the breakdown and removal of inner lining of the uterus along with blood vessel. We know the egg is released from the ovary periodically, and therefore, if the egg is not fertilized, menstruation also happens periodically. This cycle of menstruation, which happens every month, is called menstrual cycle. Menstruation usually lasts for 3 to 8 days. Menstruation is also called as periods in common language. It starts in a female when she attains puberty. The first menstrual cycle is called menarche. At the age of 45 to 50, menstruation stops permanently. It is called as menopause. In one reproductive cycle or in a menstrual cycle, there are three phases. They are follicular phase, ovulatory phase or luteal phase. Here you can see the first 14th day is follicular phase and around 14th day ovulation takes place, that is ovulatory phase, and after the 14th day you can see the luteal phase. Follicular phase lasts for 14 days. Dominant hormones of this phase is nothing but estrogen. This estrogen promotes the growth of inner lining of the uterus. Here in the second picture, you can see a pink graph and a blue graph. This pink graph represents the estrogen level. In the follicular phase, that is from day 1 to 14 days, during that phase, follicles develop ovum inside them. And at the time of ovulation also you can see estrogen is at its peak. Around 14th day ovulation takes place. This phase is called ovulatory phase. After ovulatory phase is the luteal phase. During the luteal phase, which hormone is at its peak? The progesterone is at its peak. This progesterone is produced by the corpus luteum. Corpus luteum, you can see here, this corpus luteum in this picture, and here you can see here. Corpus luteum is nothing but the remains of the follicle after the release of ovum. If fertilized egg is not attached to the wall of the uterus, progesterone level falls and corpus luteum is reabsorbed. In the picture, you can see here reabsorbed corpus luteum.
In this video, we have seen that what is puberty and what are the changes taking place in the body of a boy and a girl during the period of puberty. We have also seen that what is ovulation and menstruation. In the next video, we will see the process of fertilization and reproductive health.